before Ragnarok, before Thor swung his hammer at giants, before Odin hung himself on the world tree to steal the secrets of the runes, the gods went to war against each other. This is the story most people skip. The first war in Norse mythology was a conflict so destructive, so total, that even the victors couldn't claim they'd truly won. In the Norse cosmos, there were two races of gods, the Aesir, gods of war, order, and power. These were Odin, Thor, and Tyr. They ruled from Asgard, seated at the top of the 9 worlds, and they ruled with iron. Then there were the Vanir, gods of fertility, magic, and the natural world. Freyr, the god of harvests. Freya, goddess of love and sorcery. And Njörður, master of the seas and wind. Where the Aesir commanded, the Vanir grew things. Where the Aesir conquered, the Vanir seduced. They were not the same, and for a long time they kept their distance. Until a woman named Gullveig arrived in Asgard and everything fell apart. Gullveig was a Vanir sorceress, some say a seeress, and she came to Asgard speaking of gold, obsessively, dangerously, and filling the Aesir gods with a hunger they didn't know how to contain. The Aesir didn't know what to make of her, so they did what conquerors do when they fear the unknown. They killed her. They burned Gullveig 3 times, and 3 times she rose from the ashes. The Vanir saw everything. What followed was the first war in all of creation. The Vanir marched on Asgard. The Aesir marched to meet them. And for a time that the old texts refused to measure, the 2 divine armies tore each other apart. The Aesir had strength, spears, shields, the fury of battle gods. But the Vanir had something the Aesir couldn't counter: Scyther, deep, shape-shifting magic that bent the battlefield itself. Freya's sorcery, Njörður's storms. Neither side broke, neither side won. The Aesir's walls were crumbling. The Vanir were bleeding. Then both armies looked at what was left of the world they'd been fighting over, and realized they were destroying the very thing they claimed to protect. So they stopped. The peace they struck was unlike anything in human diplomacy. No treaty, no surrender, no gold exchanged. Instead, hostages. The Vanir sent their greatest, Njörður, god of the sea, and his children, Freyr and Freya, the most beloved of all the fertility gods. In exchange, the Aesir sent Honir, tall, dignified, silent, and Mímir, the wisest being in all the 9 realms. There was just one problem. Honir was not what he appeared to be. Wise and kingly when Mímir was beside him, but completely useless the moment Mímir stepped away. The Vanir caught on. They felt cheated, so they cut off Mímir's head and sent it back to Odin. Odin, being Odin, preserved the head with herbs and magic, and spent eternity consulting it for counsel. That is Norse mythology's idea of a peace settlement. But here's the thing. The exchange worked. Freyr and Freya became beloved among the Aesir. Freya taught Odin her Scyther magic, the same sorcery that had made the Vanir so difficult to fight. Freyr became a central figure in Norse ritual and worship. The 2 pantheons didn't just make peace, they merged. Which is why, when Ragnarok finally comes, the actual end of all things, Freyr and Freya stand alongside Thor and Odin to face it. They were never meant to be the same, but they chose the same side. The Aesir-Vanir War is often glossed over in popular retellings, but it's one of the most quietly fascinating and unique stories in all of Norse mythology because it's not about strength or glory. It's about what happens when 2 different kinds of power collide, exhaust themselves, and have to figure out how to share a world. Sound familiar? The gods made peace with what they didn't understand. Maybe we should too. Follow for more.